Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Can we see how many we are online? Yeah. 44 persons. Oh, lovely, lovely. Thank you all for coming. I'm Margit Rammo. I come from Estonia. And together with our Greek colleagues, we have prepared a session for you. This is for the first time on this topic with such a group of countries. So it was already very exciting for us to prepare this session. But since we have the limited 50 minutes, even less now, we will be in a hurry. But yes, let's have a round. And Kristina, floor is yours now.
Hello, my name is Kristina Orion, and I also come from Estonia, from Estonian labor market unemployment insurance fund, which is Estonian employment services. And I will also introduce a small bit of our practice when it comes to professionalization.
Indeed. And we have a third colleague, Dimitris. Dimitris is taking pictures. He's sitting there. So my dear colleague from Euroguidance, we are not going into the introduction of Euroguidance anymore, but this is basically what we do, what Eva was just introducing in a panel. This is what I do in Estonia and Dimitris does in Greece.
Yes. Good morning, dear colleagues. Welcome to the conference. So I'm Dimitris Gaitanis. I'm the head of the Career Guidance Division of the National Center for the Certification of Qualifications and Career Guidance. This is supervised by the Greek Ministry of Education. So we are a Euroguidance and Europass National Center inside my division, and I'm happy to be here with the Estonian colleagues and try to think and reflect upon what does career guidance competence means for us and what we have to do to improve it. Thank you, Margit. Kristina.
Thanks. Maybe I should add that in Estonia, Euroguidance Center operates very closely with the National Erasmus Agency. So we are part of the Erasmus Agency and the European Solidarity Corps. And this operates under the Education and Youth Board of Estonia. Kristina said a couple of words about PES.
Yes, maybe a little bit more. Why PES is taking part in this. Our organization is responsible for all the labor market measures in Estonia, but also for career services. We are the biggest provider of career services in Estonia. Our clients are from school students to adults, and anybody who has any questions about their education choices or employment choices, they can turn to us.
Thanks. So a couple of context slides for you and context. So when you look at the frameworks in Europe, then the European Lifelong Guidance Policy Network, the abbreviation is ELGPN, worked many years providing different tools for countries to be able to reflect on their guidance systems and to find ways how to improve it. So on your right-hand side, you see a nice visual reflecting on the main quality elements that were identified by this network. So but the main focus is to support countries and to have the citizen view and also the view of the society as a whole. But as you see, practitioner competence is one of the very important elements in the system as well, one of the 5 elements. And I do suggest to look into the ELGPN publications on the website to see a bit further, but the criteria for the practitioner competence is identified in this framework is the recognized qualification. So the call is for countries to really have a profile, to have a recognized qualification for career guidance, to have to enjoy the engagement in further training and in the training activities, and also the membership in the professional associations is the third very important criteria identified within the framework of ELGPN. And then NICE is the network of universities, mainly universities, but also other types of institutions who really take care for the academic training of career professionals in Europe. And there is a framework identified also by NICE partners. And as you see, they focus on the practitioner competence, the whole framework. But what is important in this framework is that they are calling for structuring the approach according to the roles what different professionals have. So when you look at this beautiful flower, career counselor is just one of the roles. There is also a career educator, there is also a developer of social systems, managers for programming and services. So this is a much broader approach how career guidance professional is identified. And it's a very good framework also to reflect the systems in your countries. And now, floor is yours.
So thank you. It's not actually a Greek example. It's a European, an EU definition about competence that we need to start reflecting and thinking about it. So it says that competence is the proven ability to use knowledge, skills, and personal, social, and or methodological abilities in work or study. And if you see in the first definition, and you compare it with the second definition, which is what is learning outcomes comprised of, you will see that they resemble. They are pretty much the same. So what this resolution says is that competence is usually most often described by means of learning outcomes: knowledge, skills, responsibility, and autonomy. But I think, Margit and Kristina, I don't know if you agree, that this is a rather modest definition because, for example, I am thinking that whether you provide, if you provide impartial career guidance, this is not a knowledge, not a skill. This is an attitude. It's whether you are willing to provide career guidance that is independent of various interests. So it's something that this definition is not including. And I think that competence is something that is changing. It is difficult to describe. And what is now we are thinking of in this workshop? How to improve and how to include in this definition more notions and how to describe it as a continuous effort of a reflective practitioner to change, to understand, and to realize how career guidance is a complex, holistic job, holistic approach.
Yes, so for this session, we also prepared Slido to hear your voices and your opinions and questions maybe. We had discussion. What are the most essential ways to improve competence development of career guidance professionals in Europe? You will hear two examples, the Estonian example, some bits of it actually, and also the Greek example. And we would like to hear what are your reflections about this and what are maybe your country experiences when it comes to competence development of career guidance professionals. So those who are online, but also those who are present here, please connect to Slido and you can post your thoughts and questions there. Please, those who are online, use the Slido, not the Zoom chat. So we will keep the Zoom chat mostly for technical questions, but if you have some insight, then use the Slido option. And at the end, we will try to see some of the questions and maybe some of the opinions that you had and reflect back to you as well.
One technical question. Will you answer questions in chat if anybody has problems?
Not right now. Yeah.
Not right now. Okay.
Yeah.
But then we will continue. Did you all manage to get to the Slido?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
So we will start with the Estonian example, and then we will follow with the Greek one. Indeed. As a first thing, when it comes to the capacity building of competencies for guidance professionals in Estonia, our challenge is that there is no academic degree in Estonia. So our response is the professional qualification, which we think has a lot of strengths compared to academic one. And just to those who are from Europe, they know the European qualifications framework, the 8 levels. And this is also a like a basic system for Estonia. So we also have Estonian qualification framework, includes the 8 levels, where then level 7 corresponds to the master level, and yeah, this is something to look into. So it's important. But what is also important about this qualification framework, that it has the 3 elements: professional standard. So countries or stakeholders in a country need to identify what this standard is about. We will come back to that later, how it's done in Estonia. Then the system of awarding qualifications. So how to award a professional qualification. And finally, the register of professions and the register of qualifications. So these 3 elements are essential also for Estonia.
So just a little overview of Estonian career specialist standard. So we have one standard because we have many roles. There are mandatory competences, the promotion of career services, networking to provide services, service development also, and provision of instruction and training to colleagues. Then there are optional competences. You can choose either career counseling or career information provision, but you can also choose both. And then there are recurring competencies that are in all these elements. Right now, this year, we also had this process of making a new standard. So there will be 2 more optional competencies. One is career education, and the other one is supporting staff in a company. So like closely connected to personnel,
human resource departments and private enterprises.
Yes.
They support.
So this is a new way for us, and unfortunately the standard is not yet confirmed, so we couldn't introduce this to you in that way. So the relevance of this is that this is a national agreement. I will show in the next slide how the process goes, but basically there are several parts, several organizations who take part in this process, and this also gives us opportunity to really think through what the career professional's job is in Estonia, what we expect of them, and how we would like to maybe highlight some of the competences. So this time, when we renewed the standard, we also added some of the competences to really emphasize that these are important. For example, the internalization and digital focus is now also written into the standard. And for employers and also clients, this is if the professional has the standard or the certificate, this is a proof of quality and good level of service.
And if I can add, the foundation for stakeholders means that the relevance points come from a recent study. And what was definitely said that our training providers, they actually take the standard and they build their training according to the standard. So this is really a strength of the system as well.
Yes. So, no, wait. I think there is one slide.
Yeah.
Yes, missing. Okay, here. So this is the process in very broad sense. So first of all, there is a professional council who forms a working group of experts to create the standard. This time, me and Margit both were in this working group. And there were also from universities, the trainers, there was association, there was private companies who provide career services, schools representative. So it was a very broad group of people with very different expectations for this standard. And we had to find an agreement how the standard should be composed. The next step is that when the standard is confirmed by the professional council, there can be a professional qualifications committee who sets the procedure for awarding. In Estonia, it's a practical exam. So you have to have a portfolio first, and then you have exam where you have a case that you have to solve with the assessment committee. And then the certificate is given to the person and also entered into the public register. And from the applicant side, they have to first see how they meet these qualifications, and they also will submit the portfolio, take the exam, and then they can present themselves with a certificate if need be. So,
indeed, and these are the principles what apply for every profession.
Yes.
So the Professions Act defines what are the stakeholders that need to be involved in defining the standard, and what are the stakeholders involved in the professionals committee. So it's really it's not a unique for career guidance only.
Yes, but how the awarding goes, this is different for every professional standard, basically. So.
And maybe it needs to be added that we have the standard on 2 levels, level 6 and 7. And the main difference is that at level 7, you already have a developer role. You either train other professionals, you can act as a mentor, or you develop any methodological materials. So in addition to your client work, you have roles like this.
Yes.
Yeah,
you can move
and
forward.
now the how PES is using the system.
So now from the basically employer side, as I said, we are the biggest provider of career services. We have 140 career practitioners in our organization, 80 career counselors, 40 career information specialists, and from already many years, we have decided that the people that we employ, we would wish them to have the professional certificate as well. As Margit explained before, when a person is starting to work, we have to provide the initial training ourselves, basically. They have higher education, they maybe have some competence already, or some experience in the field. That's a plus, of course. But basically, everything that is connected to the career services provision, we have to train ourselves. And we wish to support the career practitioner in the way to acquiring the professional certificate. So it starts with all the training that we have to provide. As Margit said, our training program is also built on the standard. So we try to see that all the elements are covered in some ways. And also the that we provide time for the person to prepare for the exam, for example. And then we also pay for the professional exam because it's quite expensive for most people. It's a big investment for the professional. And also if they have acquired the professional certificate, it's also connected to the salary system. So it's not the only thing that is connected to it, but it's one of the central parts as well. So and this is a additional motivation for the practitioners to really go through this process, because it is time consuming and they sometimes are quite anxious about this. What will happen if I will fail this exam, for example, and so on. But I think that in most part, when they get the certificate, they are really proud and happy and really want to present this certificate on their wall as well. And additionally, we actually have internal competence framework as well. This is to support the competence development. Even if the person has the certificate, we would like to see them analyze their competence every year and see where are the maybe some areas of development for them. And this is a conversation between the manager and career practitioner to agree, for example, what kind of training they additionally need, for example, or what kind of other activities to support them they need.
So just to sum up, that the strength of it is that the professional community is involved. So the Estonian Association of Career Counselors is the one who has the role of the awarding body. However, also this role is in a constant update. So every 5 years, you need to apply again whether you meet the requirements of the awarding body in the system. And last week we had this big celebration. Basically, we concluded it's done once a year. And last week, basically, the new qualifications have been identified, and the persons will get to know this very, very soon. And when it comes to ways forward from Estonia, so we are dedicated to have a regular update, and the new professional standard is coming. So for our next 5 years, then as mentioned, the international dimension and competence related to ICT are the new focus competence areas in this new standard. The new approach in general in EQF is that there is a desire to have the competence-based standards. So this is a new way for Europe, for association and for our area as well. However, we are also we are not putting aside academic training, so we are still working on how to run the academic training for our professionals as well, and the free micro-credentials have been recently opened, so this is like one small step to have the micro-credentials first. We have 2 universities who offer this, and then this is something we can build on when defining the academic qualification, hopefully in the future, hopefully at master level, but there is a long way to go.
Yeah, I just remembered maybe one important detail about the professional exam. So in Estonia, it is what we call competence-based assessment. So in few years back, when a person came to a professional exam, they had to show how many years they have been in the field working as a practitioner, how many hours of training they have concluded, and so on. But now it basically says that any person can come to the professional exam, and if they can prove their competence through the interview, through the portfolio, through the case study, then the certificate is awarded. And it doesn't matter how they acquired these competencies. Was it through the work experience? Was it through some trainings and so on? So this was a big change a few years back.
And when it comes to continuous professional training, our next steps are a lot linked to the work-based opportunities. So knowing that guidance professionals, these people who have the role to support their clients in education and work in very different settings. So we see the work-based opportunities for their continuous professional development as an opportunity to see how other professionals work in other settings, to be able to cooperate as a community as well. And finally, the self-evaluation tools, we are dedicated to improve the EQF for career guidance in Estonia, and develop further the self-evaluation tools so that career professionals could also preparing for the exam or anytime basically reflect on their competencies defined in professional standards. Yes, this is a slide just to remind for those who came later or for those who didn't open the Slido yet. So if anything comes to your head, what could be helpful for other European countries or for you, then that's the place to add. And now the floor is Dimitris.
Thank you, Margit.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I will start by describing what was the steps that we have taken in this long, let's say, effort to establish a competence standard in Greece. So first of all, you need to have a legal appointed body that has the ownership of the standard. Otherwise, if many bodies are conflicting each other, if many bodies have the same responsibility, I think this would be an obstacle. So according to a specific law in Greece, it is EOPEP which is the appointed legal body for keeping a register of career guidance counselors, setting the requirements and assuring the quality of career guidance services. And as Cynthia said in the beginning, quality of career guidance in general, of a body, a career guidance body, with quality, and actually is what Margit showed in the beginning, and quality of the individual career guidance counselor are so much connected to each other. So in 2013, we built a competence profile. It's not a job profile, it's a competence profile. So it describes what ideally a career guidance counselor should do, should be able to do when it is an accredited career guidance counselor. It was then the profile was accredited by the by OPEP, and it was developed with the help of social partners and ministries and all the competent bodies, and it was accredited according to a ministerial act. The profile describes all the main and secondary professional functions and tasks, and is complemented by a modular continuous training program that is like a national standard in career guidance training, in training for career guidance counselors. And this standard results in basic level certification because we have two levels of certification, like in Estonia, in Greece. So starting from the lower level, there is the basic level professionals, and the requirements here are an EQF level 6 university degree in any subject, plus you have a certificate of 250 hours in career guidance and counseling. This is a continuous training program, or we call it continuous training program in Greece, but it actually is used as an initial training for people that do not have a specific bachelor's degree or a master's degree in career guidance. So they also need a 200 hours internship in career guidance and training in a specific career guidance service body, plus they participate in written examinations and on-the-spot evaluation of a face-to-face career guidance session. You can see the main professional functions that correspond to the basic level. I won't read that. And then you have the superior level, the expert level professionals, which they need a 6 up to 8 university, but especially in career guidance. We do not have a level 6 degree in Greece, but we do have a level 7, a master's degree in career guidance in Greece. This is where I come from. Vuli comes from another career guidance counselors. So they have some specific, more complex functions, like in Estonia, and we have some people who have graduated from a specific program that is not actually a master's degree or an EQF level 6 in career guidance, but is a good qualification in career guidance. It's called PESIP in Greece, and they need to pass an examination which is a face-to-face career guidance session. Then, if you need to be an evaluator, you want to be an evaluator at those exams described, you have to be a level A, an expert level professional, plus you have to have over 5 years of professional teaching experience in career guidance and very good digital skills. So this year, January this year, so February this year, we had a specific legislation which sets, it's a joint ministerial decision published in the government newspaper, and it describes the terms, the qualifications required, the conditions, the necessary supporting documents, the methods and process of examinations, and the qualifications for becoming an evaluator. So some reflections, some steps to be taken. I always like to put them in form of questions like we do in quality assurance in career guidance. So a law 4763 says that all continuous training programs, including continuous training programs in career guidance, must be accredited. So here we think we must have standards not only in accreditation, but also in training. And all training programs, what is the standard here, must be compatible with the accredited competence profile of the OPEP I talked before. Now some questions. Are there criteria and guidelines for program providers of initial education programs in bachelor's and master's degrees, except in continuous training programs? And here is what the job of NICE is exactly. So, is there a standard for internship, for placement during the program? So, should internships, placements being followed inside a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, should these have standards? Should these follow standards? This is a very good job done by Ireland and Jennifer McKenzie and NCGE concerning an example of a standard like that. There should be only one national register of career guidance counselors, says ELGPN, Margit, and not many registers. And then, is a professional license of career guidance counselor necessary to work? Is connecting the license with the accreditation of career guidance service at the public and private sectors necessary? I found some similarities, some differences between the two systems, and I will quickly pass this. Both systems have set a professional standard valid across all guidance services, and career guidance stakeholders have been involved in that. Both levels have two levels, both systems have two levels of practitioners. Both levels recognize that to hold an occupational qualification is not yet a precondition for recruitment, but is useful. So in both cases, the context of the professional standard have been incorporated. In both systems, it is necessary for the quality assurance in career guidance and the protection of users from people with low professional competence to follow the standards. And there is a specific validity period for the certification of counselors. After a while, you have to renew your standard. Some differences, very quickly, the Estonian system recognizes a so-called recurring competence, while in Greece, there are no elective competencies. The two Greek levels of career counselors differ in some competencies, though. The Estonian Career Counselors Association is the awarding body, as Margit said, while in Greece, the certification of career counselor is done by OPEP. In Estonia, there is a difference in the process of certification. In Estonia, this is done by a committee, as Margit said, an assessment committee, while in Greece, the requirements for the lower level are both to have, this is done in Greece, this is done by OPEP itself, and you have to participate in exams. Finally, I don't want to, if you have time to read this very quickly. Yeah, so again, trying to find some similarities between the two systems. What are those areas that counselors need to improve their competence? So ICT is one of them. Margit already told that. So both countries recognize that the application system must be more modern, maybe use more online forms, more tests, more video counseling and all that, and so be more technically advanced and more automatic maybe. We recognize in Greece that career guidance counselors, I mean, I was not taught in my master's degree about career guidance, about quality assurance in career guidance. But now ELGPN showed us that this is a necessary competence of the counselor, how to constantly improve through inputs, processes, and outputs, indicators, and measure all his effectiveness in career guidance, in everyday practice, and in all the areas that NICE and ELGPN showed us, the 5 areas of ELGPN, etc. So the evaluation of practitioner competencies regarding international opportunities and multicultural issues, especially with the refugee issue nowadays. And finally, studies are needed on current and future training needs, followed by suitable training opportunities. Again, both countries recognized that. And now Margit summarized here some important bibliographical references.
Indeed, we added this reference and useful link slide. So the 2 important tools from ELGPN, the Lifelong Guidance Policy Network, the NICE handbook, they're all available online freely. Also the recent Estonian study, where we focused on the training module for guidance professionals. So the main report is in Estonian, but there is a small summary in English available, and happy to share more if you are interested. Then Euroguidance Estonia is publishing the Lifelong Guidance in Estonia publication, which gives an overview about guidance in Estonia, who are the institutions, what is the legislation saying, what is available, what tools professionals use when it comes to digital world, international work, etc. Most welcome to read. And also in the CareersNet publication that was published at the end of last year, focusing on professionalization of career guidance in Europe, there is one article where also Dimitris has been referring to about the strengths of the Estonian professional qualification system.
Okay, so now we have 8 minutes for questions and comments. On Slido, we have, I see 9 comments and questions. I will address one first, and then we will discuss some of those. And what we can't manage in this time frame, then we will provide the answers in different way. First of all, there was a comment about is the Estonian standard really that general? So it's in reality much more detailed, but considering the time frame that we had here, we really didn't have time to go into detail with this workshop. But we have the current standard also in English, so we can provide that to those who are interested. Then there is a question, is it legally required to be qualified in order to practice as a guidance practitioner? So in Estonia, it's not legally required, but in Greece?
In Greece also.
Okay, yes.
However, this was a question.
Yeah.
You remember.
Yes. So Estonia is very advanced in terms of digitalization. What role does it play in the qualification upskilling of guidance professionals? From the PES point of view, we do have specific training for our practitioners to manage different tools that they use every day, different tools they use in the guidance process, but also there are different tools, databases, and so on that they use in organizing their job or client data and so on. So this is part of the training system in our institution, but maybe Margit would like to add.
Yes, I would like to add that there is a great international cooperation network called VALA, which comprises of Nordic and Baltic training providers, and they have a great 5 ECTS program, ICT in guidance, and Estonian professionals have also been part of this training. So I hope the program continues, and University of Jyväskylä is the main driver in this, but in cooperation with the universities of other countries.
Okay. How Chris would like to also add something.
Comments, no comments.
So let's see. How do people who get qualified evidence that they are keeping up to date? So basically, how they prove that they have been keeping up to date, I imagine. So in Estonia, it's in the portfolio, you describe what have you been doing, and there are specific questions that you answer. And also there is an interview. So no, like a certificate is asked of you. It used to be like this, that you had to prove and provide certificates of trainings in certain amount of hours and so on. But now it's not the part of the process. Yes.
You've both described very robust processes for initial qualification, but I suppose the question I was trying to ask was, once someone's qualified, how do you know that in 10 years' time they're still any good at their job and they have done it? Is there any requirement for people to demonstrate that they're still doing professional development and still good at it and so on?
Yeah. So there is it's 5 years that you have the certificate, and then you have to take you have to, I don't know how to say it. Update. Yes. So you will provide also portfolio the same way, and then from the portfolio, the assessment committee decides if they feel that they need an interview with you. And in some cases, they can also say that there is too little evidence, and you will have to have also the case in the committee. So this is the process. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
The same for Greece.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And actually, it's probably a task for us for as a new standard comes and with some additional competences, we have to find a solution how we will now find out if this person has these competences as well. So
It's pretty much the same in Greece. It's like 5 years. We agree in 5 years.
yeah.
So it's very interesting. And we have set an indicator here that you have to be following in these last 5 years a specific amount of career professional development hours, specific amount of hours in career professional development in different areas. So you may not be competent enough if you follow one program of 1,000 hours for these 5 years, but you have to prove, to show evidence of different programs that cover different areas that are hot and demanding in those days. And this is our main criteria so far, but we are willing to maybe to exchange some ideas and maybe add something later if it's done.
Yes. So maybe one more question. We have 2 minutes. What level of qualification do career professionals need in your country? In Estonia, they have to have higher education, and that is said in the standard. It used to be for the level 6 bachelor's degree and for the level 7 master's, but due to the competence-based assessment, it's not actually allowed to demand this kind of certificate. So higher education is all that is said right now.
So the main principle is what you can do. What are your competencies? Are you able to give the service according to the agreed standard?
It's the same. We think that it's a combination of both learning outcomes and a degree. We can't exclude the degree. So at least at the basic level, we need a degree, a university degree in any subject. And in the expert level, you need a degree, a both or a degree in any subject plus a master's degree or even a bachelor's degree in career guidance. We don't have it in Greece, as I said, but maybe we accept people from abroad that have recognized their diploma, EQF6 in Greece, so this is enough for them.
So I see that 1 minute more. So one question I just picked randomly now. How the career specialist role differs from different target groups, students, unemployed, so on, and what could be done at the university level. So in Estonia, we have thought it to be important to have one standard for all target groups. So we are a small country, we have low number of professionals, and if the person gets the certificate, it is a proof that they can work with different target groups. They can move sectors if they need to, and there is no differentiation in this target group sense.
I think there is an interesting here priority in Europe. One of the 13 priorities. So you need both sectorization in career guidance to be special in your sector, but also you need intersectoral cooperation. This is not conflicting, but adding to each other. So again, in Greece, we have resulted in the same, what you said, Kristina, no specific standard for a specific sector, but career professional development, continuous training may get you to able to work with another, let's say, sector or another target group that you may not have, that the basic career guidance specialization is not enough. So this is covered by continuous professional development and not by the basic standard, which is common for all sectors.
Yes. And when it comes to universities, this is of course very demanding for any training provider or universities as well. In Estonia, we do feel that there is a problem that the career professional has so many competence areas that they have to develop, and they are usually in different departments in universities, and how to really make this cooperation work. So this is a challenge, definitely. So, but our time is up now. So thank you.
I hope we have also some proposals. And if you didn't manage to type it in now, then write it in your notes and take it to the discussion, to the panel, after the panel. So you will be able to insert your great ideas also there. Thank you all for coming. It's great to have you, and
Yes.
enjoy the conference. Thank you.
Thank you.